everyone, welcome back to another video. I am going to be reading the highest and lowest rated books on my physical TBR. I thought that this would be an exciting way to read my physical TBR and also see if I will have the same opinions. I have already filmed this intro, so I am going to share a screenshot as I am talking because I accidentally deleted the first intro. The lowest rated book we got, The Lying Game. I am so excited to read this one. Even though it is the lowest on my TBR, I am intrigued of why it might be the lowest, just because it does sound really good. And then the highest rated book we got was Nightfall. I did have books that was above Nightfall, but they were either like books in part of a series or ones that I have planned for other videos. So this was the highest that I could read right now. I have actually been like reading this series this month, and I am excited to get on into this one just because Will seems like a character that's kind of like in the background. You don't really know much about him. He's kind of like mysterious type thing, so I am excited to read about his story. So I am just about to start The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. I decided to start off with the lowest rated because then hopefully the highest rated we can end this video on a high note. But I'm also really excited for this one because it sounds really good. The text message arrives in the small hours of the morning. I need you. Isa drops everything, takes her baby daughter and heads straight to Salton. She spends the most significant days of her life at boarding school on the marshes there. Days will still cast their shadows over her. Isa and her three best friends to play the Lying Game, competing to convince people of outrageous stories. Now, after 17 years of hiding the truth, something terrible has been found on the beach. The friend's darkest secret is about to come to light. Very excited for this. I was thinking I could probably listen to the audiobook for a little bit while I do some colouring because I haven't done some in a while. I got some colouring books for Christmas and I did have like a moment, but I haven't done it in a few months. So we do have this colouring book, the Cozy Girl Homebody, and this is the one that I have used. I have been using a bit of cardboard because it does leak through, but I have done some pages. I'm not like aesthetic or anything, I just literally have fun with it. So we have this, and then we also have this page and this page. As you can see, I did have my moment of colouring because I did quite a few. I didn't end up finishing this one, so that's what I might end up finishing today. But then I also do have some other colouring books. We have the Fuzzy Buddies Comfy and Adorable colouring book. This one just looks so fun because it has like so many cute things. And then we also have Comfy Days, again, also like another cute one with like loads of different cute pages. And then this one feels a little bit weird to be doing now, but to me I suppose it doesn't really matter. We also have the Cozy Girl Christmas. I was thinking about saving this until Christmas, but then I was like, why does it really matter? So I might do some colouring in this one, I don't know. Someone's telling me to finish the one I have already started. As well as the colouring books, I also got a lot of markers for Christmas. So we have the 80 and then we also have 168. I have a lot of different colours here. This pack I haven't really used, so I'm going to have a lot of fun testing some colours out of this one. I'm going to do some colouring and listen to The Lying Game. I thought I'd come in and just give it a little update. I am 250 pages in, and I don't know how to feel about this book so far. I feel like it's not really gripping me as much as I thought it was going to, and also as much as I hoped it would. I don't know, I am feeling a little bit disappointed by it, and I am kind of like getting to the point now where I kind of want it to be over, even though it hasn't took me long to read at all. I've probably been reading for like maybe about 2 hours or so not long at all. I just feel like in areas it is dragging a little bit. I don't know, I do have to like kind of think of my thoughts, but I am going to try and finish the book and see how I feel about it. Okay, so I have just finished The Lion Game, and I have like mixed feelings on this one. I think I definitely went into it thinking that I was going to enjoy it a lot more than what I did. I think I'm going to settle on a 2-star for this one. I'm going to try and like think of my thoughts because I have not long just finished it, so you know, all my thoughts are fresh and haven't been like really put together. But I would say the concept of the book was good. I just feel like it wasn't for me. I did go into it thinking, wow, this is going to be so enjoyable, but it kind of fell flat, and I found myself really struggling to get hooked into it. I don't know if it maybe was the storyline and that it wasn't for me in the end, or maybe it was the writing. I did like that it was fast paced and the chapters were short, and that's why I feel like I got through it quite quickly, and that is why I do say it is a fast read. I would have liked to have seen more character development between the characters, because I felt like we didn't really get much of that, and we kind of just jumped straight on into the main plot of the story, which I mean is great, but I would have liked more details about the characters, because I feel like if I had known a little bit more about the characters, I would have cared a little bit more. I feel like the things to do with the boarding school was really rushed. It just felt rushed, which kind of threw me off a little bit with that plot and that storyline. So by about just before the halfway point, to be completely honest, it felt like the mystery side of things just kind of ended. There was like no more of it, and that's what I mean by it fell flat. And then near the end is when it kind of like started to get a little bit more interesting again. The pacing of this, yes, it was fast paced, but it also kind of felt like it was a little bit all over the place. So at the beginning of the book, it feels like you are kind of like thrown into the story, not with like much details, a little bit rushed. Then the middle is where it feels like there's no mystery, so then it's kind of like feeling like it's dragging on because you're not really intrigued anymore, like you're not really interested. There's nothing like keeping you interested and wanting to keep going on with the story. And then near the end, yes, you get that mystery again, and you learn, you know, secrets and all that stuff, which is great. But then I also feel like that was rushed as well. So there was that, and you find out these secrets quite early on, especially with it being a mystery book. Now if you like to learn things early, then I suppose this book would be for you. But for me, a mystery book, I really like for it to be a mystery for as long as possible, because that's what I'm going into the book for. I'm going in for that mystery. And so I'd say probably about 50-60% of the way through, you kind of find out all the secrets. That mystery kind of goes a little bit, so I would have liked it if we kind of like waited until maybe about the 80% mark before we found out those secrets, you know, closer to the end. I think that's all I have to say about this book. I am still going to read more books from this author, even though this one was not for me personally. I have also read The It Girl by this author, and I think I rated that one like 3 stars. I am really intrigued in all the other ones that I own as well, so I am going to read more from this author. Just because this one was a miss doesn't mean anything. Now I am going to start Nightfall. I'm hoping to be able to finish all this today, but it is like 722 pages. We will see. I don't know how it's gonna go. I mean, it is still early because I started reading earlier, like really early today, so I think I have plenty of time. But yeah, that is what I'm going to start now, and I'll speak to you all once I have some thoughts. I am actually reading this a lot quicker than what I was expecting. I generally thought it was going to take me a while. I think it kind of helped. The font is big when I read through this, but I'm going in between my Kindle and the physical book. Definitely very easy to read. I knew from the other books that they were, easy to read, but just when you see a 722 page book, it is kind of intimidating. Yeah, I am on page 311, chapter 19, so I have made quite good progress. I definitely will finish it tonight because it is only 6 p.m. I thought I'd come in and give a quick summary for Nightfall. So this follows Will Grayson, who is serving time in Blackchurch, and then a girl named Emery ended up in this prison. But Emery is actually the one that got Will in this prison. And so she ends up actually becoming trapped in there with him. And they have a past. And it's kind of like, in their past, they like to play kind of like a cat and mouse game. Like, that is one of like the big things that kept going on between them. So basically the moral of the story is basically set in this prison, Blackchurch. And there's Will and 5 other guys with Emery. They basically have to find a way to survive. And then, so you obviously also get the present, which is what I just explained, but then you get the past, and you get to see how like they know each other, and you get to see the cat and mouse game, and how everything happened, and all of that stuff. Now, I am enjoying this because you are learning a lot about Will, and in the other books, like I said before, he kind of seemed, he was more in the background. You didn't really know much about him. You didn't really get any information about him. The only thing, you learn one thing about him, and that's because it happened to him again, and it was just like a very traumatic situation from Kill Switch. But that is literally actually you learn 2 things about him. But those are the only information that you get about him. And that is because I suppose the author was setting up for his own story with Kill Switch, because obviously his book is next. And so you just got those like little hints of information about him. But then Nightfall, obviously because it's his story, you learn a lot more about him. You learn, all about his trauma and all that stuff. So you feel like you can understand him a little bit more because you're obviously reading from his point of view and all that stuff. And he is obviously less in the background this time around. So yeah, I am going to continue on reading. I would definitely say I'm enjoying it. It is gripping me, but there are times where I am finding it a little bit slow. Not in like a I'm bored type of way. It just sometimes I would like things to move along a little bit. Like I said, not bored, don't want to say that. It's just like okay, I'm really intrigued with what's going to happen next, let's hurry up type thing sometimes. But like I said, I am just having a good time with it. So I have just finished Nightfall, and I finished this a lot quicker than what I was expecting. I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping to finish it today, but I wasn't expecting to finish it today, and I did. So I would definitely say this surprised me, only because of the things that happened. Like, I generally went into this blind, not knowing anything about it, and because of the way it started, so the story starts with, and this isn't a spoiler, but it begins with you kind of just being like thrown straight on into the story with Emery waking up in the Blackchurch in a house with 5 dangerous men. You find out that there is no way out for her, and so just kind of like not knowing anything about it, and then that is like the first thing you read. It grips you straight away because you just want to know what happened, why she's there, and all of that stuff. So I feel like it started really well, and it was a great way of gripping me into the story. I liked how you got the past and present chapters where you will see the present, where obviously Emery is stuck at Blackchurch and she hasn't seen Will in 9 years and all of that stuff. And then you also go to the past where everything started before Devil's Night, and you also get to see Will and Emery's relationship and like where it started during high school. The more I kept reading, the more that I did feel things were starting to become a little bit dragged out, and I just feel like it didn't need to be 725 pages. It probably could have been like 200 pages shorter and it would have been completely fine, but things were dragged out when it didn't need to be. It took a while to like get to the point sometimes, and you kind of got like, it kind of started to feel a little bit repetitive with, like, I like the cat and mouse situation in the past and present, to be fair, but I don't know, it just started to become a little bit too much, and I just wanted like to know about like the main plot of the story, and I was more interested in that. I felt like Will and Emery's relationship kind of got put on the back burner during the second half of the book so that I could focus more on the plot, which I liked, because yes, I love the romance, I love a good romance, but you already got to see a lot of that through the first half of the book. And like I said, I was actually really intrigued by the story plot. I really wanted to know what was going on with that. So when the second half of this really focused on that story, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely say the second half I enjoyed a lot more. It was a lot better, and I think, like I said, I think that's just because that is what I was more interested in. Obviously, like I said, love the romance. I enjoyed the second half more. I did find that in the beginning of the book, I was finding it really hard to feel like connection between the characters. I was like, what going on type thing, but I do sometimes I have had that struggle with pretty much this whole series. When you start to learn more and you see more of the past chapters, then you know, the connection to start to build, and then it kind of makes sense, like the relationship and like the romance side of things. I think what I didn't like, I don't want to say didn't like, but was too much for me, was sexual tension or all of that stuff. I feel like there's too much of it, which is shocking for me to say, I know. I would have liked to have learned more about the other guys that was in the Black Church, just because I felt like there was kind of more in the background, and so I would have liked it if there was kind of more involved within the story and you got to know a little bit more about them. I don't mean they have to be like fully involved, because obviously the story focuses on Will and Emery, and honestly the rest of the characters from the other series, but it would have just been nice to have like known a little bit more about them. Apart from the connection between the characters themselves I absolutely love. I love Will because he is definitely a whole mood. Like, he is all over the place, but in like a good way. One minute he could it feels weird to say this, but one minute he could be like, I don't want to say nice, but you know, he could show you like his nice side, and then the next it's like the cat and mouse game, and you know. I think I'm explaining it correctly. And then there's Emmy, and honestly, again, she's kind of like a whole mood herself, but I was kind of expecting for her character to be completely different from what she, like, who she is. So I was expecting for her to be more of like the quieter one, and that is kind of what it's like gives off at first until you learn more. And that's all I'm gonna say. But then again, even with Will's character in the other books, he is portrayed completely different to what he is in this book. Like, you see more of his like sweet side, which is something that I actually liked, because like I said, he has a sweet side, but then he does also have like a dark side, could we say? Is that what we're gonna call it? But honestly, that is all I can think of for my thoughts on this book currently. I think I'm gonna settle on a 3-star read for this. I would highly recommend this whole series if you haven't read it already, because it is definitely something that you need to, oh yeah, check trigger warnings if you haven't already. You kind of like really have to like dark romance, because this is, you know, obviously more on the darker side. So if you're looking for like a sweet romance, then maybe don't pick this up. So that is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave this emoji if you're watching to the end, and hope to see you in my next one. Bye.